Howdy everybody and welcome to another Destiny build video. Today we have an insane Arc Warlock build, so without further ado, let's get into this one. So this Arc build is absolutely insane. It will allow you to infinitely jolt your enemies. It will create an infinite amount of ionic traces, especially against powerful combatants. It's going to allow you to keep amplified up forever. It's going to refund abilities exponentially. I'm talking you should get them back every couple kills, if not even quicker than that. It is absolutely insane. It was even able to beat the subjugators, or what I like to call the subjugator test in the shooting range, which is extremely hard. It takes like the greatest builds to be able to beat it, and this one was able to. So let me go ahead and show you how to make this build. To make this build, you're going to want to start with our key exotic, Fallen Sunstar. This is going to make so that ionic traces you create will move faster and grant you additional energy. It will actually double it. Nearby allies will also gain a bit of ability energy when you collect an ionic trace. We're going to go over here to the armor mods. We're going to start with a harmonic siphon on the helmet, because we're probably going to be using arc weapons, and I'll get into the weapons later, so you're probably going to want that. After that, you can technically go ahead and put on whatever you want for these other two. I like putting on 2 super fonts so that I get a little more super energy. For your arms, I put on 2 melee fonts and a grenade font to get some more energy to top them up over 100. You can swap these out for a heavy-handed, firepower type thing, momentum transfer, impact induction, that type. You can do that if you would like. I just like sending our melee and grenade stats over 100 because we're always going to have armor charges thanks to ionic traces. And now for your chest piece, you're just going to want to go ahead and put on 3 resistances mods. If you want, you can also theoretically put on a health font. That is also an option. But I recommend just putting on your 3 resistances depending on the activity you're doing. Now for your leg, you're going to want elemental charge. This is going to make it so that your ionic traces have an escalating chance to give you armor charge. This is going to allow us to keep armor charges up like crazy because we're going to get so many ionic traces. And next to that, you're going to want an innervation and an invigoration. You can theoretically swap one of these out if you'd like for better already. You can also put recuperation, but I like better already much better. So you can put that one on if you'd like. You can also put, just the way it was. You can mix and match however you would please. And for your class item, I recommend putting on 2 bombers. You can also, yet again, swap one for outreach if you want. You could also switch them for distribution if you would like. Mix and match. Whatever you would like, you can do. Personally, I like giving myself the double grenade, a little more energy. So I like a little bit of bomber. And you're also going to want a Reaper because we're going to be making a lot of rifts so that your weapon kills will also give you an orb. You can also put 1 class one on if you want like this. Actually, I probably would do that myself, so yeah. Now for the armor stats, we're going to go with melee, grenade, and class. You're going to want to have these up about as high as possible. As you see, I have a 90 melee, an 80 grenade, and a 70 class. 99, 87, and 70 to be exact. And that works just fine. So the closer you can get to 100, the better, but you do not need to be there. Just be around 70, 75, and higher. Now for our Stormcallers subclass, you can go ahead and use any super you want. For your Rift, I highly recommend healing. You can use empowering if you want, but it's very, very nice for this build to stand in your healing nade and unleash amount of jolting abilities. For your jump, go ahead and put on whatever you would like, whatever you're most comfortable with. And now for your melee, you're going to want Ball Lightning. Chain Lightning is not the worst thing ever either. You can use that. But Ball Lightning gives you range, and that's going to be the best part because standing in your healing rift and unleashing your Ball Lightning is going to be much nicer. And for your grenade, you're going to want any arc grenade. It will not matter in the end. I highly advise Pulse Grenade because Pulse Grenade is going to sit there and periodically keep hitting enemies, meaning it can hit new targets and everything. So I recommend sticking with Pulse Grenade, but you can use any. For your first aspect, you're going to want Arc Soul. Arc Soul is going to make us have a turret that sits around our shoulder. And when you're near allies, your Rift will recharge faster, which is always nice. And while amplified, your Arc Souls are supercharged. So going from Arc Souls into our second aspect will be Electrostatic Mind. This is going to make it insane because we're going to have amplified all the time, benefiting our Arc Soul. Defeating targets with Arc abilities, or defeating Jolted, which we're going to be jolting a lot of enemies, or blinded targets will create ionic traces, and then picking those up make you amplified. So for our fragments, we're going to start with Spark of Resistance. This is just nice. It's always an essential one. Get some bonus damage resistance. So absolutely going to start with that. Next, we're going to want Spark of Discharge. Our arc weapon final blows will have a chance to create ionic traces. And collecting an ionic trace will give you a stack of Bolt Charge. This is where it's going to get a little helpful because now we're going to have infinite Bolt Charge thanks to ionic traces. We're going to then have Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target or defeating a target with Bolt Charge, which yet again we're getting Bolt Charges thanks to Discharge. We are going to create ionic traces on those kills. So that is going to be very, very helpful. And last but not least, we're going to want Spark of Shock. This is going to turn all your arc grenades into Jolt abilities. And that's why you're able to use any grenade you want. But like I said, I like Pulse Grenade the most. I think that one is the best one. So with all of that, that is the combination we have here. Now for our weapons. You're going to want to use Delicate Tomb. It is not a 100% requirement, but I would say it's about an 85% requirement. Because collecting an ionic trace will overcharge its next shot, making it jolt on hits. When you have the catalyst, it'll also make it so that collecting an ionic trace will reload your gun a little bit. And we also have Trader's Vessel, which is going to make it so that final blows with this weapon has a chance to generate ionic traces. And the most essential part is that powerful foes will always generate an ionic trace, which is why it makes this build insane against powerful yellow bar enemies. It's absolutely insane, and it will just jolt on almost every shot, thanks to getting a ton of ionic traces. If you do not have Delicate Tomb, a weapon with jolting feedback is also very good. That would be my second recommendation. And if you don't have a jolting feedback weapon, you don't have Delicate Tomb, then a Volt Shot weapon would be my third tier recommendation. If you have a Volt Shot and you don't have the first two, then that would be what I would say to go with. Now for your artifact, this build requires absolutely 0 artifact mods. This build can be used in any season in the future because it will not rely on any artifact mods. Obviously, any artifact mods in the future that benefits Bolt Charge, Amplified, and any other arc thing such as Jolt or Blind is going to be your go-to. Now, Refresh Threads is going to be great for this current one. Elemental Coalescence, that is also going to be a great one. And we're also going to have Shield Crush, that will also be a great one for this season. So those will be the 3 I would recommend adding to this build for the current season. If you do not have Delicate Tomb, you'll be able to get it if you go over here to the Exotic Archive in the tower, go over to the Witch Queen Exotics, and from there it will be available to buy for 100,000 Glimmer or an Exotic Cipher. You can find Exotic Ciphers in the current Battle Pass at level 50 and level 105 for Season Reclamation. You'll also be able to go to Xur once a week, every weekend, and you'll be able to buy one from him in a form of a quest. Completing that quest will give you an Exotic Cipher. You can turn it into him during that exact week that you bought it or the weekend after. So this build, as you can see, is absolutely insane. It allows you to ability spam. The amount of abilities I get fighting enemies is absolutely crazy, because the ionic traces are going to be giving us 25% energy back to our melee and grenade, and 30% back to our rift every single pickup. And obviously add on some damage bonuses and whatnot from our melee and grenade stat, add a bit of overshield from our class if we go over 100, and you're talking an even better build. It goes up against some of the top enemies available in the shooting range. It absolutely is insane. And because of how many ionic traces we get, we're able to continuously have armor charge thanks to our leg mod. So you can even build into that like crazy. So if you're looking for a fun arc build and you want to master the lightning for just any class, but specifically obviously Warlock, then this build is here for you. Obviously, I'm not even using the super because that would even just add more to the build already. And it just already slays out. It doesn't matter what enemy type. It literally will shred anything. because our grenade is going to be jolting enemies like crazy. Our melee does an insane amount of damage. Our rift is going to heal us consistently while also giving us an arc soul, which is going to help us kill everything. And don't forget that even though our arc souls don't jolt, which is already like fine, that electrostatic mind makes even arc ability kills generate ionic traces. So we don't have to worry about certain abilities not jolting, because any enemy that dies to them will still create us ionic traces. So this, like I said, this build allows you to just ability spam. It allows you to keep up bolt charge, amplified, jolt a ton of enemies. It is literally insane. And it brings back Delicate Tomb and Fallen Sunstar, which honestly feels like two exotics that have been left behind in the current like metas. So this build brings back some old fun ones and makes them god tier in our current time. But with all of that, that is the end of the video. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this build. Is it getting you through some of the crazy activities out there in the portal and whatnot? Let me know down below. With all of that, if you like this build video and you want to see more and stick around, then why not hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share, all that good jazz, because it tells me you want to see more Destiny videos. And honestly, why not join the family and stick around? With all of that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, I will see you around the tower.